Hello everyone. Today I decided to supersize the McDonald's menu, 20 times bigger. But first, I need to get the original items. Let's see what I bought. The menu includes country-style fries, a Royale with cheese, cheese dip, a McFlurry, and a Grimace Shake. Before making all of this 20 times bigger, we need to try how it tastes. The Grimace Shake is slightly artificial tasting, but overall, it's a tasty berry drink. Next on the menu, country-style fries. Let's try them. Tastes exactly like regular fries, nothing special. To make the fries taste better, I bought some cheese sauce. Let's try it with that. Now that's more like it. The main item on the menu is the Royale with cheese. It includes a bun, a patty, 2 slices of cheese, onions, pickles, ketchup, and mustard. Altogether, this is the pure taste of McDonald's. A perfect combo. And for dessert, we've got a limited edition Pistachio McFlurry. Let's give it a try. Amazing. You can really taste the natural pistachio taste here. Now that we know everything that goes into the McMenu, it's time to go get the ingredients for the giant version. We need 3 sacks of potatoes, lettuce leaves, a whole bag of onions, a ton of milk for the ice cream, a tray of eggs, all the ground beef the store had, ketchup, mustard, lots of cheese sauce, 2 massive packs of cheddar cheese, a jar of pickles, some yeast, vanilla sugar, and a whole lot of regular sugar. 2 entire boxes of butter. A bag of blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. Citric acid, and now it's time to head to the checkout. We put the groceries onto the checkout belt. And on the other side of the belt, we're going to pack them into bags. The total cost of the purchase comes out to $360. Without the iconic McDonald's packaging, the food just wouldn't look as cheerful. So we're going to start our giant menu by building the boxes. But first, we need to tear apart the original packaging and lay it flat. We printed a giant template for the burger box, and then cover it with 3 sheets of cardboard. Then we're going to take some PVA glue and coat the entire surface. On top, we're going to glue another 4 sheets of cardboard crosswise. Once the glue has dried, we can flip over the solid piece of cardboard. And then using a utility knife, we're going to cut out the shape that we need from the cardboard. The dotted lines show where the folds will be, so we scored those with the knife as well. And that's it. We don't need the template anymore. We fold the cardboard at the marked lines. And then we apply hot glue. And start assembling the pieces, gradually turning the flat cardboard into a full 3D box. It's very simple since all the pieces fit together perfectly, just like a puzzle. And that's it. The first box is ready. We're going to make a giant fry box the exact same way. All done. For the fries and burger, we use cardboard. A giant plastic bucket will be used as the Grimace Shake cup, and a slightly smaller bucket for the McFlurry, and a plastic container for the cheese sauce. To make the bucket look more like a cup, we need to saw off the handles. Then we sand down those spots with sandpaper. In the lid, we're going to drill a hole in the center to make space for a straw. For the McFlurry, we also remove the handles. Now we'll make the packaging look more like the originals, and to do that, we're going to move everything outside for painting. First, we're going to apply a primer coat, so the next layer of paint sticks better. We're going to spray paint the buckets white. All done. Now it's time to head back to the studio. We're going to grab acrylic paints, brushes, and rollers. First, we're going to paint the fry box red. Then we're going to use purple for the Grimace Shake Cup, yellow for the sauce lid, and then paint the burger box white. Now, using a pencil, we're going to mark out where the key design elements will go, like the McDonald's logo and the lettering. And finally, we can move on to the last stage, painting the details. And that's it. After an entire day of work, our giant packaging is finally ready. They completely replicate the originals. Everything except for the Grimace Shake, we decided to keep it in the legendary old design. So the first thing we're going to make is giant potato wedges. And for that, we need 3 sacks of potatoes. We're going to open them up and start peeling them. We only need the inside. We're going to put them in water so the potatoes don't turn black, and then keep peeling until the bags are empty. All done. Now we need to wash off the dirt. And then we're going to lay the cleaned potatoes out on the table. The next step is chopping. This helps the potatoes cook faster. We're going to chop them into random chunks and then drop them into a pot filled with clean water. We're going to continue chopping the rest of the potatoes. All done. We're going to move the pot to a giant stovetop burner. Cover it with a lid and turn on the gas. We boiled the potatoes for 2 hours until they turned soft, and then we're going to bring the pot back to the table. We drain all the water and add salt. Also, a good amount of paprika. And then we mash the potatoes into a smooth puree. "20 minutes later, the giant batch of mashed potatoes is ready. This will be the light inner part of our giant potato wedges. To recreate the darker crust, we're going to scoop a small portion of the mash into another pot. We're going to add brown food coloring and then mix it well. All set. Now we're going to grab a bunch of baking trays. And we're going to take a portion of the light mashed potatoes, place it on a tray, and start shaping it into a wedge. All done. Next, we use the colored mash to create the crust, so the wedge looks just like the original. All done. We need to make 6 more wedges using the same method. Now we're going to place the wedges in the freezer. They need to firm up and become more solid. Now it's time for the giant deep fryer. We're going to open a whole lot of bottles of sunflower oil and pour them into the pot. Then we're going to heat up the oil, and once the wedges have chilled and firmed up, they're ready for frying. We're going to drop the giant wedges into the hot oil and fry them. This is going to take 4 minutes each. Then we're going to take them out and place them on paper towels to soak up the excess oil. We've got a crispy crust on the outside, just like the real thing. We're going to keep frying the rest of the wedges the same way. All done. Now we're going to place the wedges into the giant McDonald's box. That's it. Our giant country-style fries are complete. I think they turned out pretty close to the real thing. So now it's time to supersize the Royale with cheese. For the giant bun, we're gonna need milk, warm water, yeast, flour, and then we're gonna start mixing the dough. We also add salt and sugar. After 5 minutes of mixing, we're gonna add softened butter. Another 5 minutes later, we can stop the mixer, and then we'll let the dough rest for half an hour. All done. We knead it thoroughly by hand, and then place it on a baking tray. Then we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and wait again for the dough to rise. Once it has, we're going to remove the wrap. And then to get a golden crust, we're going to crack an egg into a small bowl, add some milk, and mix it together. And we're going to brush this mixture over the dough. Then we sprinkle sesame seeds on top and put our giant bun into the oven to bake. The bun is ready. We can take it out of the oven. Now once it cools, we're going to cut it in half. All done. Now we need the cheddar. I want to make 2 giant slices of cheese, and to do that, we're going to chop it into smaller pieces. Then, using a meat grinder, we're going to shred all of it. It's a much faster way than grating it by hand. All the cheese is ground up, and now we're going to move it to the stove. And while constantly stirring, we're going to melt it down until it becomes fully liquid. After 10 minutes, the cheese is completely melted and is turned into a smooth, unified mass. We're going to take it off the heat, and now we need to split the melted cheese into 2 parts and spread them onto baking trays. While the cheese is still hot, we're going to shape it into evenly thick sheets. The easiest way is to do it by hand. All done. The slices are formed. They just need to cool and harden. After that, we can take the first slice out of the tray and place it on the bottom bun. Now, let's make a giant patty out of ground beef. We're going to add salt, granulated garlic, and freshly ground black pepper. Then we're going to mix everything together thoroughly. After that, we're going to transfer it onto parchment paper and begin shaping the giant patty. All done. Now, using a pizza paddle, we're going to take the patty outside. We're going to cook it on a gas grill. We're going to fire up the burners and place the patty on the grate. Now, at this point, we no longer need the parchment. We close the grill lid, and after 3 minutes, we're going to open it up and flip the patty to sear the other side. And that's it. The giant patty is ready. Now we're going to place it on the burger. Next comes the second massive slice of cheese, and after that, onion. We're gonna cut off the stem and the root, and then slice the onion in half. Now the peel comes off easily. This is the fastest way to peel onions. We're gonna slice it into half rings. We're gonna need a lot of onion. And then pile it on the burger. Next is ketchup and mustard. The last thing to add is the pickles. We're gonna take them out of the jar and slice them into rounds. All done. And then we're gonna place them on the burger. Then we top it all off with the upper bun. Finally, we place our giant Royale with cheese into the box. I think this giant version looks a lot like the real one from McDonald's. Now we close the box. Next up is the giant Pistachio McFlurry. For delicious ice cream, we need a whole lot of butter. We're gonna unwrap the packs. And drop them into the pot. And just like that, we're going to toss an entire box of butter into each pot. Now for the most important ingredient in ice cream, the milk. We're gonna open the boxes and pour the milk into the pots. Same as with the butter, each pot gets the same amount of milk. And of course, ice cream needs to be sweet, so we're gonna add a generous amount of sugar in equal portions. Now to bring all the ingredients together, they need to be heated up. So we're going to place the pots on the burners. And for that classic ice cream aroma, we're gonna add some vanilla sugar. Then we're going to turn on the heat. We're gonna cover the pots with lids to help them heat faster. And after 1 hour, we start stirring so the butter can melt from the warmth of the milk. Now, as strange as it may sound, we're going to need powdered milk. It will make the ice cream taste even more milky and will also help the milk and butter combine more smoothly. We're also adding guar gum. This powder acts as a thickener and will make the mixture denser. The ice cream will become firmer. We're adding xanthan gum. It works great in synergy with the guar gum and will make the ice cream stretchier and more pleasant to eat. Then we're going to mix all the dry ingredients together thoroughly. And while constantly stirring the liquid mixture with the giant mixer, we're going to gradually pour in the dry mix. The mixture becomes noticeably thicker. Now we're going to repeat the same process with the second pot. All done. Now to cool the mixture as quickly as possible, we're going to pour it into pre-chilled containers inside the freezer. Then we're going to leave it to freeze. After some time, the center of the future ice cream is still liquid, but the edges have started to freeze. At this point, we need a giant immersion blender. Using it, we're going to blend air into the mixture to give the ice cream the same fluffy texture as the original McFlurry. We're going to do the exact same blending process to the second container. While it continues to freeze, we're going to prepare the pistachio topping, and for that we need high-quality shelled pistachios. To turn them into a paste, we're going to use a melanger. And we're going to slowly start pouring the pistachios into it. This stone roller mill quickly grinds the pistachios down and turns them into a smooth, uniform paste. At this stage, we make sure to add powdered sugar to deepen and enhance the pistachio flavor. After another 2 hours, we're going to end up with perfectly smooth pistachio paste. We're going to turn off the melanger and pour the paste into a bowl. Now we need to make 6 more batches just like this. We're gonna end up with almost a full bowl of homemade pistachio paste. By now, the ice cream has fully frozen, so we're going to give it one more mix with the immersion blender. Now the texture is super creamy. We also blend the second container of ice cream. For the McFlurry, we only need 1 container of ice cream. So we're gonna set it on the table and begin assembly, starting with a layer of pistachio paste, pouring it into the bottom of the bucket. Then we're going to scoop our creamy ice cream and add it to the McFlurry bucket. Then comes another layer of pistachio paste, and we continue alternating the layers. At the top, we're going to make a nice swirl pattern to make our giant McFlurry look exactly like the original. The leftover pistachio paste is going to go into a special dispenser. And with this, we can gently, neatly drizzle the front of the McFlurry with stripes of topping. All done. Now all that's left is the waffle pieces. We need butter, sugar, flour, and 2 eggs. And we're going to mix the batter with a mixer. Now once that's all ready, we head over to the waffle iron and add just a spoonful of batter and close the lid. Once the waffle is done, we're going to transfer it to a cutting board and cut it into squares. I'm going to repeat this process with the remaining batter and make a bunch of waffle pieces. Then we're going to sprinkle them nicely over the top of the ice cream. And that's it. The giant pistachio McFlurry is finished. Honestly, I think it looks even better than the original. Next up is the GIANT Grimace Shake. We're going to place a pot on the stove and pour in a bag of raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. We're also going to add a lot of sugar. Then we're going to pour in water and give everything a stir. The berry mixture needs to simmer for 10 minutes. After that, we're going to use a giant immersion blender to puree all the berries into a smooth mixture. All done. Now we're going to pour it into the remaining homemade ice cream. And blend it again with the immersion blender. And that's it. The Grimace Shake is done. We're gonna move it to the table and pour it into our giant cup. At first, we're going to use a saucepan to do this. Then we're going to pour the rest straight from the basin. Then we cover it with the lid and insert our giant straw. That's it. The Giant Grimace Shake is completely finished. I think it turned out amazing. Let me know in the comments, have you ever tried this one? Now all that's left is to fill the container with cheese sauce. Then we're going to cover it with the lid. And that's it. We've officially upsized the McDonald's menu by 20 times. The first thing I want to try is the Giant Royale with cheese, so we're gonna cut off a piece of it, almost like a cake. Then we're gonna lift it out. You can clearly see all of the ingredients that we added inside the cross-section. Let's give it a taste. This is honestly really close to the original Royale with cheese, and it's no surprise the ingredients are exactly the same. Now we're gonna open the cheese sauce. Grab a wedge of potato, dip it into the cheese sauce, and take a bite. This is good, but the crust should have been crispier. I would say it's about 80% close to the original. Trying the Grimace Shake like in the real version is just not gonna happen. There's no way a human's lungs have that kind of power. So we're gonna take off the lid and try it with a spoon. Our Grimace Shake tastes exactly like the original, but without that artificial taste. Last up is the Pistachio McFlurry. This is unbelievably tasty and honestly a 100% match with the original flavor. And of course, there's no way we're going to eat all of this ourselves, so we're sending it to children in need. We're gonna load all the food into the trunk and hit the road. When we arrived, the oldest kids helped us unload everything. The staff at the facility sliced up the burger and handed it out to the children. It was a really hot day, so the kids wanted something to cool down with. That's when we started pouring the Grimace Shake into cups. The kids absolutely loved it. Naturally, they're big fans of sweets, so of course they wanted to try the Pistachio McFlurry next. And that item turned out to be their favorite out of everything. Honestly, the huge burger we made today is relatively small, but if this video gets 100,000 likes, I will go all out and make a truly giant burger. I will use the meat from an entire cow for the patty, and I'll bake the bun in a custom-built oversized oven. So if you want to see that, make sure to hit the like and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you next time.